Gravel bites into my palms as I push myself up from the dirt road, the echo of screeching tires still hanging in the night air. My husband's laughter fades with his taillights, leaving me alone in a darkness so complete it feels like drowning. I'm Autumn, and 10 minutes ago I thought I was going on a romantic drive with my husband. The taste of blood mingles with dirt in my mouth. My designer dress, the one Marcus insisted I wear tonight, is torn at the shoulder, probably ruined. He'll be furious about that. The thought makes me laugh, a harsh sound that bounces off the trees surrounding this godforsaken stretch of road. "You're becoming a liability," he'd said, so casually you'd think he was commenting on the weather. Then the car door flew open and his hands were on me, and suddenly I was tumbling onto gravel and shadows. My phone is still in his car. Of course it is. Marcus always thinks of everything. I start walking, each step sending sharp pains through my scraped knees. The moon offers just enough light to keep me from stumbling into the ditch. Every car that passes makes my heart leap, then sink. None of them slow down. I don't blame them. Who stops for a disheveled woman on a dark road at midnight? "You've gotten too curious lately," he'd said over dinner, watching me with those calculating eyes I used to find so captivating. Always asking about the business, about Mother's involvement. It's becoming problematic. I should have seen it coming. The signs were there. Hushed conversations with his mother Helen, the missing financial documents, the way they'd exchange glances whenever I asked about the family business. But love makes you stupid. Or maybe I just wanted to be stupid. To believe the fairy tale of the charming businessman who swept me off my feet. A car approaches from behind, slowing as it nears. I tense, ready to run, but then I hear a familiar voice. "Autumn? Oh my God, what happened?" Sophie, my best friend. The one person Marcus couldn't manipulate me into abandoning. "He knows," I say as I climb into her car, "about the documents I found." Sophie's hands tighten on the steering wheel. "That son of a bitch. I told you he was dangerous." I thought I could handle it. I thought if I just played along long enough to gather evidence. Evidence of what? What did you find? I close my eyes, seeing again the numbers that didn't add up, the shell companies, Helen's signature on documents that shouldn't exist. Enough to destroy them both, if I can prove it. Sophie's quiet for a long moment. "You know this means war, right? Helen will never let you threaten their precious family empire." A strange calm settles over me, replacing the shock and fear. Good, because I'm done playing the perfect Carter wife. "What are you going to do?" I watch the familiar streets of our town slide past, thinking of all the times I smiled and nodded at charity galas while Marcus and Helen built their reputation on lies and other people's money. Thinking of how they slowly stripped away my independence, my career, my dignity. "I'm going to take everything from them," I say, surprised by the ice in my voice. Starting with their precious reputation. Sophie glances at me and I see a flash of concern in her eyes. "Autumn, revenge won't fix what they did to you." "No," I agree, touching the bruises forming on my arm. "But it's a start." As we pull up to Sophie's house, my phone starts ringing from Marcus's car across town. I imagine him realizing his mistake, scrambling to damage control. Let him worry. Let him wonder. The game has changed, and this time I'm writing the rules. 3 years ago, I sat across from Helen Carter at her mahogany dining table, watching her slice into a perfectly cooked steak while she explained why I needed to quit my job. "Marketing is such a demanding career," she'd said, dabbing her lips with a cloth napkin. "Marcus needs a wife who can support his ambitions, dear, not someone distracted by her own." I remember how my wine glass trembled in my hand that night. How Marcus squeezed my knee under the table, his fingers digging in just hard enough to warn me. "Stay quiet. Play nice. Keep the peace." Now I'm back at that same table, watching Sophie scroll through my bank statements on her tablet. The numbers tell a story Helen never wanted me to see. "They've been siphoning money from your accounts for months," Sophie says, her voice tight with anger. "Small amounts at first, then larger transfers after you gave Marcus power of attorney." I trace the wood grain of the table with my fingertip. He said it was for investment opportunities, that we needed to pool our resources for the family's future. The family's future? Sophie scoffs. More like funding Helen's shopping addiction and Marcus's mistress. The front door opens, and Helen's voice carries from the foyer. Autumn? Are you home, dear? I shoot Sophie a warning look. She quickly closes the tablet and slides it into her bag. Helen appears in the doorway, designer shopping bags hanging from her arms. Her smile freezes when she sees Sophie. Oh, I didn't realize we had company. Just catching up with an old friend, I say, standing to help with her bags. My hands shake slightly, but I force them steady. How lovely. Helen's tone suggests it's anything but. Though I do wish you'd mentioned having guests. I would have brought something suitable for lunch. No need, Sophie says, rising. I was just leaving. She hugs me, whispering, call me later, before heading out. Helen watches her go, then turns to me with that practiced, concerned mother expression. Darling, I worry about you spending time with Sophie. She's rather bitter since her divorce. Not the best influence. She's my friend. Friends can be dangerous when they're envious of what you have. Helen begins unpacking her shopping bags, revealing expensive silk blouses. Speaking of which, Marcus mentioned you've been asking questions about the business again. My heart races, but I keep my voice steady. Just trying to understand our investments better. Oh, sweetheart. Helen laughs softly. You don't need to worry your pretty head about all that. Marcus and I have everything under control. She pulls out a cream-colored blouse, holding it up. I bought this for you. Isn't it divine? Perfect for the charity gala next week. I take the blouse, feeling the silk between my fingers. Another pretty cage, another distraction. Thank you, I say, the words tasting like ash. It's beautiful. Try it on, Helen insists, her eyes sharp despite her smile. I want to make sure it fits properly. I head to the powder room, closing the door behind me. In the mirror, I see the bruises from last night starting to purple along my shoulder. The silk will cover them perfectly. Of course it will. Helen always thinks of everything. My phone buzzes. A text from Marcus. Mother says Sophie was there. We talked about this. Another buzz. Don't make me handle this like last night. I stare at the messages, remembering the cold calculation in his voice before he pushed me from the car. The way Helen will pretend not to notice my injuries at dinner tonight, just like she always does. The silk blouse feels like a noose around my neck. My phone buzzes again. Sophie this time. Documents are copied. Ready when you are. I look in the mirror one last time, straightening my shoulders. Helen's voice calls from the dining room, asking if everything fits all right. Perfect. I call back, my voice honey-sweet. It fits perfectly. Let them think they've won. Let them believe their pretty silk chains still hold me. Soon they'll learn what happens when you cage something too long, when you push someone past their breaking point. Soon they'll learn that some wounds don't heal. They harden into armor. The safe clicks open with Marcus's birthday. He always was predictably narcissistic. Inside, beneath insurance papers and property deeds, I find a manila envelope that makes my fingers go numb. Withdrawal slips, bank statements, forged signatures, my signatures. The numbers swim before my eyes as I flip through page after page. Not just my savings anymore, but my inheritance from Dad. Everything I'd kept separate. Everything I'd tried to protect. All of it funneled into accounts I've never seen. My hands shake as I take photos with my phone. The house feels too quiet, too exposed. Marcus could come home any minute. Helen could drop by unannounced, like she always does. A car door slams outside. I shove everything back into the safe, heart pounding as I spin the dial. Footsteps on the porch, keys jingling. Marcus finds me in the kitchen, calmly stirring coffee like I haven't just discovered how thoroughly he's destroyed me. You're home early, I say, proud of how steady my voice sounds. He loosens his tie, watching me with those calculating eyes. Board meeting ended sooner than expected. He comes closer, kisses my cheek. Have you been crying? Allergies. His hand catches my wrist, thumb pressing into my pulse point. You know you can tell me anything, right? We're partners. I meet his gaze, thinking of all the documents I just photographed. Of course we are. Good. His grip tightens slightly. Because Mother mentioned seeing Sophie's car here again yesterday? She dropped off some old photos from college. The lie comes easily now. Nothing important. Autumn. He says my name like he's scolding a child. After what happened the other night, I thought we had an understanding about Sophie. I pull away, moving to the sink. I understand perfectly. You made that very clear on that dirt road. That was unfortunate. He sighs, following me. But you forced my hand. All these questions about the business, meeting with old colleagues. It had to stop. And stealing my inheritance? Was that unfortunate too? The words escape before I can stop them. Marcus goes very still. What did you say? I turn to face him, terror and rage warring in my chest. I saw the papers, Marcus. The transfers. The forged signatures. Everything. His expression doesn't change, but something dark flickers in his eyes. You went through my safe? Your safe? I laugh, the sound brittle. Half of what's in there was mine. Before you and your mother decided to, his hand slams against the counter beside me. I flinch, but keep talking. How long have you been planning this? Was it your idea, or Helen's? You don't understand business, he says softly, dangerously. Sometimes sacrifices have to be made for the greater good. The greater good? My voice rises. You stole everything I had. I protected it. He moves closer, trapping me against the sink. You think you could manage that money better than me? Than Mother? We built an empire while you were playing at marketing campaigns. Playing? The word tastes like poison. I was vice president of... You were nothing, he snaps. And you'd still be nothing without us. Without me. The truth of it hits me then. Not just the theft, but the years of subtle degradation. The careful, calculated destruction of everything I was. You're right, I whisper. I was nothing, but that's changing. His hand catches my jaw, fingers digging in. Is that a threat? No, darling. I smile, channeling Helen's sweetest tone. Just a fact. The front door opens and Helen's voice rings out. Marcus, your father's lawyer is here about the trust fund transfers. Marcus releases me, straightening his tie. Not a word. He warns, then calls out, Coming, Mother? I wait until his footsteps fade, then pull out my phone. My hands shake as I text Sophie. It's worse than we thought. Much worse. Her reply comes instantly. Oliver Thompson agreed to meet. Tomorrow, 2 p.m. I touch my jaw where Marcus's fingers left their mark, thinking of all the documents now saved on my phone. Of all the years I spent being nothing. I'll be there. I text back. Time to become something they never saw coming. Oliver Thompson's office feels too bright, too exposed. The wall of windows behind his desk leaves nowhere to hide, and my hands won't stop shaking as I spread the documents across his desk. These transfers, he says, tapping one of the papers. They're all technically legal. Marcus made sure of that. But the signatures could be explained away. Power of attorney is messy territory. Oliver leans back, studying me with unexpected intensity. The real question is, why come to me? Before I can answer, my vision blurs. The room tilts sideways. Autumn? Sophie's voice seems far away. When was the last time you ate? I try to remember, but the days have blurred together. The constant vigilance, the pretending, the fear. It's all catching up at once. Oliver's hand appears with a glass of water. Drink this. Slowly. The water helps, but my hands still tremble. I'm fine. No, Sophie says firmly. You're not. And that's exactly why we're here. Oliver stands, pacing behind his desk. Marcus Carter and I have history. Bad history. He destroyed my first company through similar tactics. Legal theft wrapped in pretty paperwork. Then help me, I say. You know how they operate. It's not that simple. He stops pacing, faces me directly. The Carters don't just destroy businesses, they destroy people. Helen's specialty is making problems disappear. A chill runs through me. What kind of problems? Their last daughter-in-law, for instance. Marcus's first wife. Oliver's voice goes flat. Official record says she had a breakdown, moved abroad. Unofficial story? Nobody knows. Sophie grabs my arm. You never told me Marcus was married before. Because I didn't know. The room starts spinning again. All those subtle warnings from Helen about family loyalty, about keeping secrets. All those times Marcus mentioned how unstable some women become in high-pressure marriages. She tried to expose them too. Oliver says quietly. Came to me for help, just like you're doing now. I was too afraid to get involved. 2 weeks later, she was gone. My phone buzzes. A text from Marcus. Where are you? Mother's worried. Another buzz. Come home now. We need to discuss your medication. What medication? Sophie asks, reading over my shoulder. I'm not on any. The realization hits like a physical blow. The coffee Marcus insists on making every morning. The dizzy spells. The gaps in my memory. Oliver takes my phone, reads the messages. They're setting up your breakdown narrative, making sure there's a paper trail of instability. Like his first wife, I whisper. You can't go back there, Sophie says. But Oliver shakes his head. She has to. If she runs now, they'll use it against her. Make it part of their story. So what, she just plays along while they poison her? No. Oliver pulls out a business card, writes something on the back. She documents everything, builds her case. And most importantly, he hands me the card. She lets me help this time. I won't make the same mistake twice. My phone buzzes again. Helen. Darling, we're so worried. Marcus says you've been confused lately. I'm calling Dr. Reynolds. The pieces click together, the long game they've been playing. How long have they been laying this groundwork? How many coffee cups, how many vitamins prescribed by their hand-picked doctors? I need to throw up, I announce, and barely make it to Oliver's private bathroom. Sophie holds my hair back while I empty my stomach. When I'm done, she helps me to my feet, and I catch my reflection in the mirror. Pale, shaking, mascara smeared. I already look the part they're creating for me. I can't let them win, I tell my reflection. I won't disappear. Oliver appears in the doorway. Then let's make sure you're the one writing the ending to this story. I straighten my spine, wipe my face clean. Another text buzzes. Marcus again, his concern growing more demanding by the minute. Okay, I say. Tell me what to do. Because this time, the breakdown they're orchestrating won't go according to their script. This time, when everything falls apart, they'll be the ones who never see it coming. The tiny recording device feels like a bomb in my palm as I slide it into my bra. Oliver's words echo in my head. Get them talking. Let them reveal themselves. Marcus watches me prepare his morning coffee from the kitchen doorway. I haven't touched mine in days, dumping it in the sink when he's not looking. Playing the role of dutiful wife while my hands shake from withdrawal of whatever they've been giving me. You seem better, he says, accepting the cup. More focused. Dr. Reynolds adjusted my medication. The lie comes easily now. The doctor's actual diagnosis sits in my purse. Clean blood work, no trace of the drugs they claimed I needed. Helen breezes in, perfectly coiffed despite the early hour. Darling, you're joining us for the foundation meeting today, yes? My heart races. The foundation. Their perfect money laundering facade. Of course. Wonderful. She touches my cheek, her fingers cold. We need to discuss the upcoming audit. Such tedious business. Marcus's phone rings. As he steps out, Helen's smile hardens. I had the most interesting chat with Oliver Thompson yesterday. My blood freezes. Keep calm. Keep recording. Oh? He mentioned seeing you at his office. She opens her designer bag, removes a manila envelope. Made me wonder what else you've been up to. Photos spill across the counter. Me entering Oliver's building. Sophie carrying files. The timestamp shows yesterday. You've been watching me. We protect what's ours. Helen's voice drops. Like we protected Marcus from his first wife when she became unstable. What happened to her? What happens to all threats to this family? She slides the photos back into the envelope. They're handled. The recording device feels heavier. One confession down. Is that what I am? A threat? Oh, sweetheart. Her laugh chills me. You're barely an inconvenience, though I must admit you've lasted longer than expected. Marcus returns, phone still in hand. That was Dr. Reynolds. He's concerned about your missed appointments. I've been busy. Too busy for your mental health? Helen tuts. After everything we've done to help you? My fingers curl around my coffee cup. One push and it would spill across the incriminating photos. But that's not enough. I need more. The foundation audit. I say carefully. Maybe I could help review the numbers? Marcus and Helen exchange looks. You're not well enough for that. Marcus says softly, dangerously. But I feel better, clearer. I force a smile. Unless there's something you don't want me to see? Helen's hand shoots out, grabs my wrist. Her manicured nails dig into my skin. Listen carefully, dear. You're having an episode. Paranoid delusions. If you continue this way, we'll have no choice but to seek more intensive treatment options. The threat hangs heavy. Like his first wife. Like all their problems that conveniently disappear. My phone buzzes. Sophie. Oliver found something big. Get out now. You're hurting me, I tell Helen, loud enough for the recorder to catch. She releases me, smile back in place. Just concerned about your welfare, dear. We all are. Marcus steps closer, boxing me in. Why don't I drive you to Dr. Reynolds, right now? The same tone he used that night on the dirt road. Actually, I steady my voice. I'm meeting Sophie for lunch. Cancel it. Not a request. No. The word hangs between us. Small, dangerous. Marcus's hand finds my shoulder, squeezing. You're not thinking clearly. I'm thinking perfectly clearly. I shrug off his hand. And I'm late. I grab my purse, heart pounding. Helen calls after me. Don't forget the charity gala tomorrow night, dear. Everyone's so worried about you. I make it to my car, hands shaking as I text Sophie. Got it, Helen confessed, but they know about Oliver. Her response is immediate. Change of plans, meet at the backup location, don't trust your phone. As I pull away, I catch Helen watching from the window, phone to her ear. Marcus gets into his car. They'll follow me, of course. But for the first time, I want them to. Sometimes the best trap is the one they think they're setting themselves. The charity gala sparkles with false promises, just like everything else in the Carter family empire. I adjust my cream silk gown, Helen's latest attempt to dress me like a doll, and watch the security team sweep the ballroom for recording devices. They won't find anything. Not yet. You look pale, Marcus whispers, his hand possessive on my lower back. Perhaps we should skip the presentation. And disappoint your mother? I force a smile. Never. Across the room, Sophie catches my eye. She's positioning herself near the audiovisual controls just as planned. Oliver stands by the bar, chatting with board members, laying groundwork. Helen glides over, champagne in hand. Darling, Dr. Reynolds is here. He's quite concerned about your stability. I spot him in the crowd, the doctor they bought to help gaslight me into submission. My hands shake slightly, and Marcus's grip tightens. I'm fine, I say. but my voice wavers. The room spins slightly. Something's wrong. The champagne. I only took one sip. Are you sure? Helen's concern sounds genuine. Perfect for our audience. You're trembling. Marcus leads me toward a quiet corner. Maybe you should sit down. No. Not now. Not when we're so close. I see Sophie moving toward the stage, flash drive in hand. But my vision's blurring. They must have known. Must have planned for this. What did you give me? I managed to whisper. Marcus's smile is gentle. Terrible. Just something to help with your anxiety, sweetheart. Dr. Reynolds prescribed it specially. The room tilts. I stumble and Marcus catches me, playing the devoted husband perfectly. Ladies and gentlemen, Helen's voice carries across the ballroom. I'm afraid my daughter-in-law is having one of her episodes. If we could clear the room. No. I push away from Marcus, fighting the drug's pull. Sophie now. But Sophie isn't at the controls anymore. Instead, a security guard is leading her out, flash drive nowhere in sight. Oliver's gone too. Looking for this? Helen holds up the drive, her smile razor sharp. Really, dear? Did you think we wouldn't have contingencies? The room's watching now. Witnesses to my breakdown, just as they planned. Tell them, I say, my words slurring. Tell them about Marcus's first wife. Poor thing, Helen says to the crowd. She's been having these paranoid delusions, imagining conspiracies, making accusations. The foundation. I try again, but my legs give out. Marcus catches me, scoops me up like a child. Dr. Reynolds, he calls. We need that sedative now. I see the needle approaching, see the pity in the guest's eyes. The story's already writing itself. Another unstable Carter wife, another tragic breakdown. The recording. I whisper, reaching for the device in my bra, but my fingers find nothing. Helen holds up my recorder, shakes her head sadly. Found during the security sweep, dear, along with quite a few other concerning items. The needle slides in. The room grows darker. You'll get the help you need, Marcus promises, loud enough for everyone to hear. Just like we helped Elizabeth. Elizabeth, his first wife's name. He's never said it before. As consciousness fades, I see Dr. Reynolds writing in his chart. See Helen directing security to clear the room. See Sophie being escorted out, her face devastated. They won't just discredit me now. They'll erase me, like Elizabeth, like all their other problems. The last thing I hear is Helen's voice, dripping with manufactured concern. We'll take good care of her. The private facility is very discreet. The darkness takes me, but not before I feel Marcus slip something into my clutch bag. Something small and hard. A phone. Not mine. His fingers brush my ear as he pretends to stroke my hair, whispers words meant only for me. Should have stayed quiet, love. Now we'll have to make this permanent. The sedative pulls me under, but one thought remains. They think they've won. They don't know about the second recorder, the one Oliver planted in Helen's own purse. The private facility's walls are stark white, but the recording playing through the boardroom speakers paints them blood red. Helen's voice fills the room. Like we handled Elizabeth. A tragic accident, of course. These unstable women, they do such desperate things. I watch Marcus's face as his mother's confession plays. Watch the color drain from his features as she details Elizabeth's final days. The treatment that wasn't treatment at all. Turn it off, Helen commands, but Oliver, standing by the audiovisual controls, doesn't move. The board members shift uncomfortably in their seats. 3 days I've been in this facility, playing the broken wife, while Sophie and Oliver gathered the board for this emergency meeting. Mrs. Carter, one director speaks up. Are you saying you deliberately... She's clearly manipulated the recording. Helen interrupts. My disturbed daughter-in-law has evidence of every transaction. Oliver cuts in, sliding folders across the table. Every shell company. Every bribe to Dr. Reynolds. Every cent stolen from Elizabeth's estate after her accident. Marcus stands abruptly. This is absurd. Autumn needs help. Like Elizabeth needed help? I asked quietly. The sedatives they thought they were giving me sit untouched in my pocket. Tell them, Marcus. Tell them how she fought back. How she found the evidence, just like I did. You don't know what you're talking about. But his hand trembles as he reaches for his water glass. The Foundation's real books, Oliver announces, distributing more documents. Notice the signature on the transfer orders, the dates, the amounts. Helen's composure cracks. You're working with him? After what Marcus did to your company? Exactly because of what he did. Oliver's smile is cold. I owed Elizabeth that much. We were building a case together before her accident. The boardroom door opens. A police detective enters, followed by Dr. Reynolds in handcuffs. The doctor's been very cooperative, the detective says, especially about Elizabeth Carter's toxicology reports. Marcus lunges for the door, but security blocks his path. You can't prove anything. Actually. Sophie steps forward, holding up Helen's purse. Your mother's recorder caught quite a bit during your private conversation last night. About making my treatment permanent? About Elizabeth's convenient accident? Helen's mask finally shatters. We did for the family. These women, they come in with their ambitions, their independence. They try to ruin everything we've built. No, Mother. I stand, steady on my feet for the first time in days. You did this. You and Marcus. Elizabeth saw it. I saw it. And now everyone sees it. You stupid girl. Marcus's voice drops to that dangerous whisper I know so well. You think this ends here? You think you've won? Actually, the detective steps forward. This ended the moment you slipped that phone into her bag at the gala. The one recording your entire confession about Elizabeth's murder. Marcus goes very still. What? I pull out his phone, the one he thought would record my final drug-induced confession. You should really check devices before using them as weapons. Oliver's quite good with technology. The detective moves forward with handcuffs. Helen crumples into her chair, her carefully constructed world falling apart. The board votes to freeze all assets, a director announces, and to cooperate fully with the investigation. As they lead Marcus past me, he hisses, I made you. You're nothing without me. No, I reply softly. I remade myself, despite you. The boardroom empties, leaving me with Sophie and Oliver. Through the window, I watch police escort Helen and Marcus to waiting cars. Elizabeth would be proud, Oliver says quietly. It was never just about revenge, I tell him. It was about justice. For her. For all of us they tried to erase. Sophie hugs me tightly. Ready to go home? I look around the facility where they thought they'd imprison me, just like they imprisoned Elizabeth. Where they thought they'd write my ending. Yes, I say. But not to their home. To mine. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't just exposing the truth. It's surviving to tell the story yourself. The courthouse steps feel different under my feet today. No more designer heels Helen chose. I wear my own shoes, make my own stride. Marcus waits by his lawyer's car, out on bail for the preliminary hearing. His expensive suit hangs loose, his charm weathered by 6 weeks in custody. When he sees me, something desperate flashes in his eyes. Autumn, wait. He hurries over, keeping just beyond the restraining order's limit. We can fix this. Everything I did for us. No. I meet his gaze steadily. You did it for yourself. Like you did with Elizabeth. Elizabeth was weak. His mask slips, showing the darkness beneath. But you're different. Stronger. We could rebuild everything, better than before. I almost laugh at how well I know this script now. The manipulation, the false promises, the carefully crafted words designed to make me doubt myself. The board approved the merger with Oliver's company this morning. I tell him, your mother's foundation is being dissolved. Assets redistributed to the victims' families. His features contort. You're working with him? After everything I told you about how he tried to expose your fraud years ago? How he and Elizabeth were building a case before her accident? I adjust my blazer. Corporate armor, not silk chains. Yes, he told me everything. The real everything. A court officer approaches. Mrs. Carter, they're ready for your testimony. Marcus steps forward, desperation breaking through. Don't do this, please, If you say you love me, I cut him off. I'll add perjury to your charges. Inside, I pass Helen being led to a conference room. Her designer clothes are gone, replaced by department store beige. She won't meet my eyes. Sophie waits by the courtroom doors. Ready? Almost. I pull an envelope from my bag, the one I found in Oliver's office last night. Elizabeth's last letter, the one she tried to mail before they stopped her. Sophie's eyes widen. Have you read it? No. I turn the envelope over, seeing the name written in desperate strokes. Oliver Thompson. Some stories aren't mine to know. I hand it to the bailiff, watching him deliver it to Oliver in the gallery. Watch him recognize the handwriting, his hands trembling as he holds the last words of the woman he couldn't save. The judge calls the court to order. I take my place at the witness stand, feeling Marcus's stare, Helen's carefully constructed indifference, but they don't matter anymore. Their power was always an illusion, built on secrets and silence. The prosecutor rises. Please state your name for the record. I lean into the microphone, my voice clear and strong. Autumn Ellis. My own name again, not theirs. Former Chief Financial Officer of Carter Industries. Marcus flinches at the title, the position Oliver offered, the one Helen always said I wasn't qualified for. The irony doesn't escape me. As I begin my testimony, I see Sophie typing notes, Oliver clutching Elizabeth's letter, the victims' families hanging on every word. My story weaves with theirs now, a tapestry of survival and justice. The truth spills out, not in angry torrents, but in precise, devastating facts. Account numbers, dates, conversations recorded when they thought I was broken. Each detail another brick in the wall that will keep them from hurting anyone else. When I finish, Marcus's lawyer has no questions. No way to twist this narrative. Outside, rain begins to fall. I think of that night on the dirt road, how lost I felt. How far I've come. Sophie touches my arm. Oliver's waiting with the merger papers. In a minute, I watch Marcus and Helen being led away, their facades finally crumbling. They taught me well, about power, about manipulation, about revenge. But they never understood the most important lesson. Sometimes the greatest victory isn't in destroying your enemies, but in rebuilding everything they tried to break, including yourself.
I never thought my life would change because of a text message. But there I was, sitting in my car at a red light, smiling at my phone like an idiot. 2 pink lines on a pregnancy test, the photo I was about to show Travis. After 3 years of trying, we'd finally done it. My name is Sarah, and that moment of pure joy was the last one I'd have for a very long time. I remember everything about those few seconds. The way the afternoon sun hit my dashboard. The faint smell of the air freshener Travis always teased me about. The song playing on the radio, some pop hit about forever love that I used to roll my eyes at but suddenly felt perfect. The light turned green. I pulled forward, already imagining Travis's face when I showed him the picture. He'd been dropping hints about wanting kids since our wedding day. And his mother Irene had been not so subtly asking about grandchildren at every family dinner. I never saw the truck coming. The impact came from my left side, a violent explosion of metal and glass. The world spun and time seemed to stretch like taffy. I remember thinking absurdly that I needed to protect my phone so Travis could see the picture. When everything stopped moving, I couldn't feel my face. Warm liquid dripped down my neck, and somewhere far away, people were screaming. A man's voice kept saying, oh God, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry." The words floated around me like leaves in the wind. "Ma'am, can you hear me? Don't move." A paramedic's face appeared in what was left of my driver's side window. "We're going to get you out." I tried to speak to tell them about the baby, but my mouth wouldn't work right. The last thing I remember before passing out was someone holding my hand and promising everything would be okay. They lied. I woke up 3 days later in the hospital. Travis was there, asleep in a chair beside my bed. He looked terrible, unshaven, clothes wrinkled, dark circles under his eyes. I tried to reach for him, but my arms felt like they were made of lead. Travis! My voice came out as a whisper. He jerked awake, his eyes finding mine. For a split second, something flickered across his face, something that made my stomach twist. But then he smiled, though it didn't quite reach his eyes. "Hey, beautiful," he said, taking my hand. "You had us worried." I tried to smile back, but my face felt wrong. Stiff. Like it belonged to someone else. "The baby," I managed to say. "Is..." Travis's hand tightened on mine. "I'm so sorry, Sarah." His voice cracked. "The doctors did everything they could." I closed my eyes, feeling the world tilt beneath me. Through the fog of pain medication, I heard the door open and recognized Irene's perfume before she spoke. "Travis, honey, the doctor needs to speak with you." Her voice was soft, careful. "About the reconstruction options." "I'll be right back," Travis said, squeezing my hand before letting go. I kept my eyes closed, pretending to drift off. But I heard them in the hallway, their voices carrying through the partially open door. "She's going to need extensive surgery," Travis was saying. Her face. "Mom, I don't know if I can." "Shoo, darling. We'll figure it out. One step at a time." I lay there, tears sliding silently down my ruined face, as my husband and his mother discussed my future like I was a problem to be solved. In that moment, something inside me shifted. Something hard and cold took root where warmth and hope used to live. I didn't know it then, but that was the moment my old life ended. The moment Sarah Blake, loving wife, hopeful mother-to-be, eternal optimist, began to fade away. And something else, something stronger and darker, began to take her place. Coming home from the hospital felt like walking into someone else's life. Everything looked the same. Our modern suburban house with its perfectly manicured lawn. The welcome mat Travis's mother gave us as a housewarming gift, even the faint smell of Travis's cologne in the entryway. But nothing felt right anymore. "I've set up the guest bedroom downstairs," Travis said, carrying my bag. "The doctor said stairs might be difficult for a while." I noticed he wouldn't look directly at me. 3 weeks in the hospital and he still couldn't meet my eyes. "Thanks," I managed, touching the bandages that covered half my face. "I've invited Mom over for dinner," he added quickly. "She wants to help with your recovery plan." Course she did. Irene Blake never missed an opportunity to manage a crisis, especially one that threatened her son's perfect life. The guest room felt sterile, like a hotel suite. Travis had cleared out all my personal items from our bedroom upstairs, arranging them with mechanical precision. My makeup vanity, a cruel joke now, sat in the corner, mirror turned to face the wall. "Do you need anything?" Travis hovered in the doorway, phone in hand. "I have a few work calls to make, but I'm fine." I wasn't, but what was the point in saying otherwise? Irene arrived precisely at 6, armed with casseroles and opinions. I sat at our dining room table, watching her arrange flowers in a vase while Travis poured wine. "The doctors say the scarring might improve with time," Travis was saying, not looking at either of us. "Well, there are always options," Irene replied, her voice dripping with forced optimism. "I know an excellent plastic surgeon in the city." Very discreet. I pushed my untouched food around my plate. "The insurance won't cover cosmetic procedures." "Oh, darling." Irene reached across the table, patting my hand. "We have to think about Travis's position at the firm. Image is everything in corporate marketing." My fork clattered against the plate. "My face is an image problem?" "Mother," Travis warned, but Irene continued. "I'm just being practical. Travis has worked so hard to build his career. And now with the Complications from the accident. She delicately dabbed her lips with a napkin. Well, sometimes life forces us to make difficult choices. Complications? The word felt like acid in my mouth. You mean losing the baby? Travis's wine glass froze halfway to his lips. We hadn't discussed the pregnancy since the hospital. I hadn't told him I was planning to surprise him that day. Sarah, he started, but I cut him off. Did you tell her about the baby, Travis? Or just about your wife's ruined face? Irene's perfectly manicured hand flew to her throat. A baby? Oh, Travis. It doesn't matter now, Travis said quickly, standing up. What matters is moving forward. Mother's right, we need to think practically. I looked between them, my husband who couldn't meet my eyes and his mother who couldn't stop staring at my bandages. Perfect son and his perfect mother planning my perfect rehabilitation. I think I need to lie down, I said, pushing away from the table. Of course, dear, Irene called after me. We'll figure everything out. In the guest room, I could hear their muffled voices through the wall. Poor thing, Irene was saying. But Travis, you're still young. There will be other chances for children once everything is settled. Mom, please. I'm just saying, you need to think about your future. Both of your futures. I touched the bandages on my face, feeling the rough texture of gauze where smooth skin used to be. In our wedding photos, Travis used to say I looked like an angel. Now he couldn't even look at me. My phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. Mrs. Blake, my name is Graham Foster. I'm the father of the young man who caused your accident. Please, I need to speak with you. I stared at the message, my fingers hovering over the screen. Through the wall, I could still hear Travis and his mother planning my future without me. Something shifted in my chest, not quite hope, but something closer to purpose. I typed back a single word. When? I found Travis's whiskey bottle hidden behind the cleaning supplies under the kitchen sink. 3 weeks after I'd come home and already half empty. I might not have noticed if I hadn't heard him stumbling around at 3 a.m, talking on his phone in what he thought was a whisper. The bandages had come off yesterday. I avoided mirrors now, but I couldn't avoid overhearing Travis's late-night conversations. You should have seen the client's face today, he slurred to someone. Like that movie, you know? Two-Face from Batman. A pause followed by drunken laughter. I know. I shouldn't joke. But man, you try living with it. I stood in the darkness of our kitchen, holding his hidden bottle and felt something inside me crack. The next morning, Travis acted like nothing had happened, kissing my cheek, the unscarred side, before leaving for work. Big presentation today, he said, adjusting his tie. Don't wait up. I waited until his car pulled away before going upstairs to our bedroom. I hadn't been up here since coming home, respecting Travis's unspoken wish to keep me out of sight in the guest room. Everything was exactly as I'd left it the morning of the accident, except for one thing. My old art supplies were missing from the closet. I found them in the garage, buried under Christmas decorations. The wooden box still had my name carved into it, a wedding gift from my grandmother. Inside, my brushes lay untouched, along with the expensive oils Travis had bought me when I'd mentioned wanting to take up painting again. You should focus on more practical things, Irene had said back then. Travis needs a wife, not an artist. I set up the easel in the guest room, facing the window. The morning light fell across my canvas as I mixed colors, muscle memory taking over. Red for anger, black for grief, yellow for the hope I used to feel. The brush moved almost on its own, creating something both beautiful and terrible. Hours passed. The front door opened and closed. Travis's footsteps paused outside my door. Sarah? Mother's here for dinner. I didn't answer, adding another streak of red to the canvas. The door opened. Sarah, what are you? Travis stopped mid-sentence. What is that supposed to be? I stepped back from the painting, a woman's face, split down the middle. One side perfect and pristine, the other distorted and fractured, with a wine glass pressed to smiling lips. "It's you," Irene's voice came from behind him. "Or rather, what you've become." "I call it two-face," I said quietly, watching Travis's face pale. "Funny, right?" "I don't understand," he stammered, but his eyes gave him away. "Don't you? I heard you last night, Travis. And the night before. And the night before that." Irene stepped between us. "Now, Sarah, Travis has been under tremendous stress. If you just try to understand." "Understand what?" I turned to face them fully, watching them flinch. "That my husband makes jokes about my scars? That he hides bottles around the house? That he can't even sleep in the same room as me anymore?" "That's not fair," Travis protested. "I'm trying." "To what? Keep up appearances?" I gestured to the painting. "Is this appearance better?" "Perhaps," Irene said stiffly. "This emotional outburst is a sign you need professional help." I laughed, and the sound made them both step back. "Professional help? Like that plastic surgeon you keep mentioning? The one who can fix Travis's image problem?" "Sarah, please!" Travis reached for me, but I moved away. "Don't worry," I said, picking up my brush again. "I'm working on fixing everything." They left the room, whispering urgently to each other. I turned back to my canvas, adding the final touch, a text message floating in the background. "Tomorrow at 2. I'll explain everything. Graham Foster." I stepped back, studying my work. In the painting, both sides of the face were smiling, but for very different reasons. Tomorrow, I'd meet the father of the man who destroyed my face. Tomorrow, everything would change. But tonight, I had more painting to do. Cafe Graham Foster chose was exactly what I expected. Quiet, expensive, far from anywhere Travis or Irene might go. I wore a scarf wrapped partially around my face, drawing less attention than the medical mask I'd gotten used to wearing in public. Graham stood when I approached his table, and I immediately recognized the guilt in his eyes. I'd seen it in the mirror often enough lately, that look of someone haunted by what they couldn't change. "Mrs. Blake," he said softly. "Thank you for coming." "Sarah," I corrected, sitting down. "Your son, is he?" "In rehab." Graham's hands tightened around his coffee cup. "Again?" "The accident happened after he left his third facility." I should have seen it coming. A waitress approached, hesitated when she saw my scarf, then plastered on a professional smile. I ordered black coffee, waiting until she left before speaking. "Why did you want to meet?" Graham pulled out a folder, sliding it across the table. "These are brochures from the top reconstructive surgeons in the country. I've already spoken with Dr. Chen in New York. He's willing to take your case." I stared at the glossy pages, at the before and after photos of smiling patients. "Insurance denied." "I'm not offering insurance." Graham's voice cracked. "I'm offering to pay for everything. It's the least I can do after what my son—" "Why?" The word came out sharper than I intended. "Because I failed him," Graham said simply. "And in failing him, I failed you too. The money can't fix everything, but it can fix this." He gestured vaguely toward my face. I opened the brochure, studying Dr. Chen's credentials. Cost listed made my stomach clench, more than Travis made in a year. "Your husband doesn't know you're here," Graham said. It wasn't a question. "No." "Good." He leaned forward. "Because there's something else you should know. The night of the accident, my son wasn't alone in the car." My coffee arrived. I wrapped my hands around the hot cup, waiting. "There was a woman with him. Someone's wife." Graham's voice was heavy with meaning. "They'd been meeting at the Golden Leaf Hotel every Thursday for months." The Golden Leaf, where Travis had his weekly client meetings. "The woman survived," Graham continued. "No injuries. She left the scene before the police arrived. My son was too drunk to remember her name, but he remembered where she worked. He slid another paper across the table. Blake Marketing Associates. Coffee turned to acid in my stomach. You're lying. I wish I was. For both our sakes. Graham pulled out his phone, showing me a security camera image. A woman hurrying through a hotel lobby, followed by a familiar figure in a gray suit. Travis. Why are you showing me this? My voice sounded distant, even to myself. Because you deserve to know the whole truth. And because I'm offering you a choice. Graham tapped the brochures. Dr. Chen can do the surgery next month. He can make you look exactly like you did before. Or he can make you look like someone else entirely. Someone Travis and his friend wouldn't recognize. I thought about Travis's late-night phone calls, his cruel jokes, his inability to look at me. I thought about Irene's constant hints about divorce and fresh starts. Why would I want that? Graham's smile was sad but understanding. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't confrontation. It's making them live with their guilt while you become someone new. Someone stronger. I touched my scarf, feeling the rough texture of the scars beneath. When does Dr. Chen need an answer? Take your time. Graham stood, leaving a business card beside the brochures. But remember, this isn't just about fixing what was broken. It's about choosing who you want to become. I sat there long after he left, staring at the security camera photo, at Travis's familiar profile next to an unfamiliar woman. Finally, I pulled out my phone and typed a message to Graham. I choose someone new. His reply came instantly. Welcome to your second chance, Sarah. I walked home slowly, planning what to pack, what to leave behind, and how to disappear without a trace. Sometimes the best revenge isn't about destroying someone else's life. It's about rebuilding your own. New York felt like another world. Dr. Chen's private clinic occupied the top floor of a sleek Manhattan building, all glass and chrome and discretion. I told Travis I was visiting my aunt in Ohio for a few months of emotional healing. He seemed relieved to have an excuse not to look at me. The changes will be significant, Dr. Chen said, reviewing my file, but subtle enough to maintain natural features. The goal isn't to create a new person, but to enhance who you could have been. I studied the digital mock-ups on his tablet. The woman in the after images wasn't me, but she wasn't a stranger either. She was who I might have become in another life, one where Travis's mistress hadn't been in that car. How long until I can? I trailed off, unsure how to finish. Return? Revenge? Begin again? 3 months for full recovery. Dr. Chen's eyes were kind. Graham mentioned you're staying at his apartment during the recovery period? I nodded. Graham's Manhattan pied-a-terre had become my sanctuary, filled with his late wife's art collection. He rarely used it anymore, preferring his house in Connecticut. The first surgery was scheduled for tomorrow. Tonight, I sat in Graham's apartment, watching the city lights flicker like stars. My phone buzzed. Travis. How's your aunt? His voice was slightly slurred. Thursday night. Golden Leaf Hotel night. Fine. I touched the surgical consent forms on the coffee table. How's work? Busy. Listen, Mother wants to know when you're coming home. She's worried about appearances. Course she was. I imagined them together at their weekly dinner, discussing how to manage their damaged goods. I need time, I said, the lie coming easily now. To heal. Right. Well, take care of yourself. He hung up before I could respond. My phone buzzed again, a text from Graham. Ready for tomorrow? I started to type yes, but stopped when another message appeared. An unknown number. Are you sure you want to know the truth about that night? My hand shook as I replied. Who is this? Someone who was there. Someone who knows what really happened. Meet me at Riverside Park midnight. I stared at the message, my heart pounding. Could be a trap. Or it could be her, the woman from the hotel. The smart thing would be to ignore it. to proceed with surgery with my carefully laid plans. But something in me needed to know. At 11:45, I took a cab to Riverside Park. The night was cool, the Hudson River a black ribbon under moonlight. A woman sat alone on a bench, her face hidden by a hoodie. "Mrs. Blake," she said as I approached. Or should I say, the first Mrs. Blake. She pushed back her hood, revealing a face I recognized from office party photos on Travis's desk. "Sarah from accounting." "He wasn't supposed to be there that night," she said quietly. "At the hotel. He was following me, suspicious. When he saw who I was meeting." "His client," I finished, the pieces clicking into place. She laughed bitterly. "The client's wife. Travis caught us together. He was drunk, angry. Started making threats about exposing everything. That's when." "When what?" "When he called his friend, the guy who hit your car. Asked him to teach his cheating client's wife a lesson. Follow her car, scare her a little." Sarah's voice cracked. "But the guy was high, confused. He followed the wrong car. Yours." The world tilted sideways. "Travis. Travis arranged the accident. Not yours." "He never meant." She stood up, backing away. "I just thought you should know." "Before you disappear." I watched her hurry away, my mind spinning. All this time, I'd been planning to become someone new to escape Travis's betrayal. But he wasn't just unfaithful. He was the reason I'd lost everything. My phone buzzed. "Graham. Surgery prep starts at 6 a.m. Are you ready?" I looked at my reflection in the dark window of a passing car. Tomorrow, I wouldn't just become someone new. I'd become someone Travis would never see coming. "Ready," I typed back. "But we need to modify the plan." 3 months after my surgery, I stood outside our house in the rain, unrecognizable. My new face, beautiful but different, felt like armor. The divorce papers in my bag felt like weapons. I'd planned this moment carefully. Thursday evening, when Travis would be home from his client meeting at the Golden Leaf. When Irene would be over for their weekly dinner, planning their perfect future without their damaged goods. Key still worked. I heard their voices from the dining room as I entered, Travis and Irene discussing me. "The lawyers say if she doesn't respond soon, we can proceed with abandonment charges," Irene was saying. "Really, Travis, it's for the best." That accident was a blessing in disguise. I stepped into the doorway, watching them freeze mid-conversation. "Hello, Travis." He stared at me blankly, then with growing confusion. "I'm sorry, who?" "I'm Claire Foster," I said, using the name Graham and I had chosen. "Graham Foster's niece. I'm here about Seraphina Blake." Travis's wine glass slipped from his hand, shattering on the floor. Irene stood quickly, always ready to manage a crisis. "Whatever this is about, we can discuss it privately." "Can we?" I placed the divorce papers on the table. "Like you discussed arranging the accident that scarred your wife's face?" Color drained from Travis's face. "I don't know what you're talking about." "Sarah from accounting does." I pulled out my phone, playing the recording from that night in the park. Travis's voice filled the room. "Follow her car. Scare her a little." "That's not." "I never meant." Travis stumbled over his words. "You never meant for it to be me?" The words came out calm, controlled. "Your pregnant wife instead of your client's cheating spouse?" Irene gasped. "Pregnant? Oh, he didn't tell you that part?" I turned to her. "About the grandchild you lost because your perfect son wanted to teach someone a lesson?" "Sera," Travis whispered, finally seeing past the new face to something familiar in my eyes. I pulled out one more document, a police report naming Travis as an accessory to the accident, with Sarah's sworn statement attached. "Sign the divorce papers," I said quietly. "Or everyone learns what kind of man you really are." Travis lunged for the police report, but I stepped back. His foot caught the spilled wine and he crashed into the china cabinet. Crystal shattered around him as he fell. Travis! Irene rushed to help him up, but he pushed her away, blood trickling from a cut on his hand. You can't prove anything, he snarled, but his eyes were desperate. Can't I? I moved toward the door. Graham Foster's legal team would disagree. They're very interested in making amends for his son's part in this, especially now that they know who really orchestrated it. Wait, Travis called as I reached the door. Please. I'll sign. Just don't tell anyone. Like you didn't tell anyone about our baby? The words tasted like ashes. Like you didn't tell anyone about planning the accident? I loved you, he said weakly. No. I touched my transformed face. You loved what I looked like. There's a difference. I left the papers on the table and walked out into the rain. Behind me, I heard Irene's shocked sobs, Travis's desperate attempts to explain. My phone buzzed. Graham, is it done? I couldn't answer. The victory felt hollow, like ashes in my mouth. I'd gotten what I wanted, Travis's signature on divorce papers, his perfect life crumbling around him. But standing in the rain, wearing a stranger's face, I realized revenge hadn't filled the emptiness inside me. I walked to my car, past the spot where Travis used to park, where he'd kiss me goodbye each morning. Past the garden where we'd planned to build a nursery. Past all the dreams that had died the night he chose revenge over love. Another text lit up my phone, an unknown number. You're not the only one he hurt. There are others. We should talk. I sat in my car, rain drumming on the roof, staring at the message. I'd thought exposing Travis would be the end. But maybe it was just the beginning. Question was, how much deeper into darkness was I willing to go? The art gallery buzzed with Manhattan's elite, all here to see the mysterious new artist everyone was talking about. My paintings lined the walls, faces twisted in pain and betrayal, beauty emerging from darkness. All signed with my new name, Claire Foster. I adjusted my dress, still uncomfortable in my new skin, when I saw him. Travis, standing before my centerpiece, a woman's face split between light and shadow, a wine glass reflecting flames. Remarkable work, a voice beside me said. I turned to find a man with kind eyes and paint-stained hands. I'm Eli Turner, the gallery owner. Claire, I replied, watching Travis from the corner of my eye. He was reading the painting's title, Thursday Nights at the Golden Leaf. Your pieces speak to transformation, Eli said. Pain becoming power. Very personal. Before I could respond, Travis's voice cut through the crowd. Where did you get your inspiration? He was staring at me now, recognition flickering in his eyes. 3 months since I'd left him with those divorce papers, and he'd lost weight. Perfect suit hung loose on his frame. Life experience, I said, meeting his gaze. Some people wear masks. I paint them. Sera. He whispered my real name like a prayer or a curse. Eli looked between us, sensing the tension. You know each other? No, I said firmly. Not anymore. Travis grabbed my arm. We need to talk. Let go. My voice carried across the gallery, heads turning. Everything you took from me, my reputation, my mother's respect, my position at the firm. His fingers dug into my flesh. Was revenge worth it? Was Thursday night at the Golden Leaf worth it? I pulled free. Was trying to hurt your client's wife worth what happened to me? To our baby. Eli stepped forward, protective, but I held up my hand. You want to know about inspiration, Travis? Look around. Every painting here tells a story about masks and lies. About men who destroy what they claim to love. I never meant to hit my car. No, you meant to hit someone else's. That makes it better. The gallery had gone silent, watching our drama unfold. In the corner, I spotted Graham Foster, who'd helped orchestrate this moment. Beside him stood Sarah from accounting, her face pale but determined. You're not the only one with stories to tell, I continued. Sarah's here. So are 3 other women from the office. all with similar tales about Thursday nights and threats and accidents. Travis's face went ashen. You can't prove. Actually, Graham stepped forward, we can. My son may have been driving drunk that night, but the police are very interested in who put him up to it. And why? You set this up, Travis realized, looking at the crowd of witnesses. The gallery, the paintings, all of it. No, Travis. You set this up. Years ago, when you decided other people's lives were yours to destroy. He lunged for the painting, but Eli was faster, stepping between us. Travis's fist connected with Eli's jaw instead of the canvas. Security appeared instantly, restraining Travis as he shouted about lies and betrayal. As they led him away, Irene emerged from the crowd, her perfect makeup streaked with tears. I never knew, she whispered, about any of it. The women, the accidents, the baby. Would it have mattered? She flinched at my tone, finally seeing herself in my paintings, the enabler, the keeper of masks. I'm sorry, she said, but I was already turning away. Eli touched his bruised jaw, managing a smile. Hell of an opening night. I should explain. You don't owe me explanations. He gestured to the paintings. Your art already tells the truth. The real question is, what story do you want to tell next? I looked around the gallery, at my pain transformed into beauty, at the women Travis had hurt now standing tall, at Graham's proud smile, at Eli's understanding eyes. Something new, I said finally. Something that isn't about masks or revenge. I'd like to hear that story, Eli said softly. For the first time since the accident, I felt truly seen, not for my old face or my new one, but for who I was beneath both masks. So would I replied, ready to begin again. 1 year later, I stood in my studio apartment, surrounded by half-packed boxes and new paintings. These weren't about masks or revenge anymore. They showed healing, growth, moments of unexpected joy caught in color and light. A letter from Graham sat on my desk, delivered this morning. I'd been afraid to open it, but now seemed like the time. Dear Sarah, or Claire, you'll always be both to me now. My son came home yesterday. 6 months sober. He asked about you, about the accident. I told him everything, about Travis's manipulation, about your transformation, about how your strength helped me find the courage to reconnect with him. He wants to apologize in person, but I told him that's your choice to make. Some scars need time to heal. Others teach us who we really are. Thank you for showing me that redemption isn't about erasing the past. It's about painting a better future. Graham. A knock at the door interrupted my thoughts. Eli stood there, paint-stained hands holding coffee and bagels. Ready for moving day? Almost. I gestured at the chaos. Just reading a letter from Graham. Good news. Different news. I touched my face, no longer the one I was born with, not quite the one Travis had destroyed, but entirely my own. His son wants to meet. Eli set down breakfast, giving me space to process. That's what I loved about him. He understood the power of silence. The gallery called, he said finally. They want to know if you're ready to show your new series. I looked at my latest paintings. No more darkness, no more hidden meanings. Just light breaking through clouds, hands reaching toward each other, faces emerging from shadows into dawn. I think I am. I picked up my favorite piece, a self-portrait showing all 3 versions of me, not as masks but as chapters in a longer story. But under my real name this time. Which one? Both. Serafina Claire Blake. No more hiding. He smiled, understanding what this meant. And the meeting with Graham's son? Maybe. I folded Graham's letter carefully. Some stories need proper endings. My phone buzzed, a news alert about Travis. He'd pleaded guilty to conspiracy charges, along with several counts of harassment. The other women had come forward, each with their own stories of Thursday nights and threats and accidents. Irene had testified against him. You know, Eli said, reading over my shoulder, Your first show helped those women find their voice. They helped me find mine too. I closed the article. I thought revenge would heal me, but it was telling the truth that finally did it. We spent the morning packing, wrapping each painting carefully. Eli handled them like precious things, not because of their value, but because they were pieces of my journey. Near sunset, we carried the last box to his truck. My new apartment was above his gallery, a place for both art and living, he'd said. A place to begin again. Oh, he reached into his pocket. This came to the gallery yesterday. It was a small package from Irene. Inside, I found my old wedding ring and a note. I kept this when Travis threw it away. It belonged to his grandmother, but it should have been yours. Sell it, keep it, whatever brings you peace. I'm learning that's what matters most. Irene. I held the ring up to the fading light. Once it had represented everything I wanted. Now it was just a circle of metal, heavy with history but powerless to hurt me. What will you do with it? Eli asked. I smiled, an idea forming. I think I just found the centerpiece for my new show. Something about transforming old pain into new beauty. He took my hand, the one that used to wear that ring, and kissed it softly. Ready to go home? Home. Not a place to hide or seek revenge. Not a mask to wear or a role to play. Just a space to be wholly, completely myself, scars, changes, strength and all. Yes, I said, leaving the past behind one final time. I'm ready.